This book is a Fireman Sam book and it's called Norman's Spooky Night. It was Halloween and Bella had promised Sarah and James that they could have a party in her cafe. Everyone in Pontypandy was invited and there was a prize for the best fancy dress. "Hurry up, Sarah," said James after lunch. "We've got a lot to do before the guests arrive. Decorate the cafe, lay out the food and put on our costumes. I hope Norman's thought of some good tricks." As the twins were chatting to Bella, Fireman Sam arrived. "Would you like some help, you two?" he asked. "It's my day off and I've got lots of good ideas for Halloween party." "Oh, thanks, Uncle Sam," said Sarah. "Norman said he'd help, but we can't find him anywhere. Do you know any good games?" "Right," said Fireman Sam, taking charge. "James, you run and buy a pumpkin from Mrs. Price's shop, the biggest you can find. And Sarah, ask Bella if we can borrow her big washing-up bowl for apple bobbing." "Great," said James. "I'm brilliant at making pumpkin lanterns, and Sarah's an expert at apple bobbing. Do you know any really scary tricks, Uncle Sam?" "Oh yes, lots," Fireman Sam replied. Sarah and James were so busy planning their party and chatting to Fireman Sam about Halloween tricks that neither of them noticed Norman peeking around the door, listening to their conversation. He thought to himself, "That's given me some good ideas. I know what'll really scare them." And he crept off before anybody saw him. "This is going to be the best pumpkin lantern," boasted James, scooping out an enormous pumpkin. "What have you put in that water?" asked Fireman Sam, pointing at the red sea of red water. "It looks just like blood." "Oh, don't worry, Uncle Sam, it's only food colouring," said Sarah, grinning. Then suddenly the lights went out. "Now what's going on?" said Fireman Sam. "Don't move, I'll see what happened." "This is creepy," said James. After a moment the lights came back on again. "The master switch was turned off," said Fireman Sam, looking puzzled. "Very strange." And then the curtains started flapping. "It's a wild night out there, isn't it? Hey, wait a minute, all the windows are open." "You shouldn't open the windows like that, you two. It's a waste of heating." "But we didn't, Uncle Sam," squeaked Sarah. "It must be a ghost. I'm scared." "Don't be silly, Sarah. There's no such things as ghosts," said James. "Of course there aren't," agreed Fireman Sam. And as he spoke, Bella came running in. "Mamma mia, save me! There's a ghost upstairs. I've seen him with my own eyes, and poor Rosa, she's run away." "Oh, this is really spooky," shivered James. "I don't believe in ghosts," said Fireman Sam. "Where's Norman? Did you say you couldn't find him?" Suddenly Norman came rushing in, white as a sheet. "Hello, Norman. What happened to you?" asked James. "There's a ghost in the cafe," he said. "Yes, Norman, a lot of strange things have been happening around here, haven't they?" said Fireman Sam. "But this one is real," said Norman sheepishly. "The pumpkin is moving and it has green eyes. Honest it has," he gasped. "That's impossible," said James. "I left the pumpkin propped up on the table." And as they were talking, Trevor Evans arrived wearing a white sheet and a green mask. "Well, there's your ghost, Norman," said Fireman Sam. "Well done, Trevor. That's a very good fancy dress costume. You should win a prize." "No, Trevor's not the ghost," insisted Norman. "I promise you that pumpkin has a life of its own. Go and see for yourselves if you don't believe me." "Well, we'd better have a look then," said Fireman Sam suspiciously, and sure enough, when they went through into the cafe, the pumpkin lantern which James had made was moving on its own. In the dim light they could see two green eyes looking out at them. That's a brilliant trick," said James. "Tell me how you do it, please, Norman." But Norman was shaking with fear. "I promise this is no trick," he groaned. "The lights, the windows, the ghost upstairs, they were all me. But there's a real ghost in that pumpkin. No kidding." "Rosa," called Bella. "My poor Rosa, she's so frightened of ghosts. We must find her." Hold on a moment, Bella. I think I know where we can find Rosa. He lifted off the top of the pumpkin and out jumped Rosa. I think Rosa should win the prize for the most frightening Halloween costume, said Fireman Sam, and the others agreed. When all the guests had arrived, they turned the lights out and lit the pumpkin lantern. Everyone took a turn at apple bobbing, and James practiced his Halloween tricks on everyone except Norman. He'd had enough frights for one day. And that's the end of the story. And here's all the guys that were in the story.